I'm Vinay Takwale, I'm one of the medical directors at NHSE Southwest, and my portfolio is mainly elective recovery, system improvement, and I take an additional responsibility for spec comp for probably another year. So what I was going to do is just kind of give you a bit of a highline strategic view from the region. Quite a few times, for most people on the front line, the region is very abstract, sitting somewhere far away. So just to kind of give you an idea what we do, what our intentions are over the coming year. And it's great to be here really, because I do get feedback from what is happening in the spinal network, and it's generally been superb in the last 12 months really, and I'll come to that where I think have been the strong points. So that is for all of us, that is our vision: improving health and well-being for the people of the Southwest. Okay, and our purpose really is to provide strategic leadership for ICBs and kind of influence them, support them to deliver various improvement schemes, as well as, I'm afraid, the recovery component of it. So generally for the Southwest, this is our priorities, so kind of improving health outcomes. I'm just going to move to the next slide. It'll be easier to explain on that. So, okay, so it's about improving health outcomes, and increasingly with the ICSs and the way things are going forward, we are moving into a very population-based commissioning, very much looking at the population as compared to just the elective or the hospital side of it. So I think that as a network, I think you'll start increasingly focusing on that. So, so moving from just the provider space, but really end-to-end pathways, primary care, interface, and so it's great to see all of you on the secondary care and tertiary. Southwest is a Mormont region, so it is a kind of one of the first regions where we're looking at health inequalities as a big thing. So if you know about Mormont, probably worth Googling him and understanding what the health inequalities are. The other thing about the Southwest is we have a lot of coastal community, and if you look at the health inequalities in the coastal community, they're huge. And that does reflect the challenges that we as Southwest face. So that is a priority for us. Probably for this network, best start in life is not a priority, but the recovery of elective services is a priority. And I must say, when I started elective recovery, the challenges that were there in spinal surgery were quite immense. And the Devon system has really moved things significantly forward. And actually, it's probably, from a spinal surgery point of view, the performance has been superb. So that really benefits our patients. The mutual aid has been great. Similarly, the Bristol network has done a lot of work with regards to day case and length of stay. So that's all very, very positive, really. Okay, best place to work. You know, we have a big issue with workforce, theatres, AHPs, and we've got to find a way of addressing that. So that's an increasing priority going forward. And importantly, it's about working in partnership between ICSs, between providers, mutual aid, and see how we can benefit the patients, our patients the best. Okay, so this is a network day. So this is the vision for networks. Okay, so we want the networks to push through. I was just talking with Don earlier. So there have been specialist commissioning networks, and there are other networks in the region. But the idea is really through the networks we would like to hear from you guys and then push through the improvement and the delivery of improvement. So there is about quality, about resilience, supporting innovation, system-wide collaboration. So kind of moving from that provider base to say, this is the ICB, this is the system. And for the Southwest, we have a lot of small systems, so there's 7 of us. And so increasingly as we go into it, we'll find that actually some of the systems on their own may not be able to deliver what we want. So it would be about multiple systems to coming together. And I think that is where the network will be very, very vital. So that's about mutual aids and then improving outcomes of patients. I will leave that for Mike when he talks in his talk. I think it's probably very much what the Gov data shows. The governance structure. So like I said, we got a a lot of networks. These are the SpecCom networks. The adult medicine long-term conditions is not a SpecCom network, but it is a long-term conditions network. But it's about bringing all these networks together, learning from one another about delivery, and the golden threads. That is what one would expect to be reflected in the working of every network. So that goes from population health, GIRFT, we're very familiar with that, health inequalities, personalized care, frailty, aging well, workforce, digital, learning disability, mental health, and urgent care. So that is where, that's a golden thread for each and every network. Now, obviously, in each network will have different priorities within that, but those are the things I'm hoping that the networks will cover going forward. That's a large governance structure for that. I won't go into the details there. And for those who, and I come new to this, so SpecCom has been commissioning specialized services, but there have been a lot of services, but they're gradually getting delegated to the ICBs. So a lot of them will move into the ICBs. Instead of them being commissioned centrally or regionally, they will be commissioned within the ICBs. Okay, but there are some of them will still be nationally commissioned. So the complex one, let's say gender, or there will be bits of some specialized surgery that will still be nationally commissioned. But most of them will go to ICBs. Okay, there will still be a few. At the moment, will be commissioned through the region going forward, but I think the expectation is that will be a very small number, and most of them will either be national commissioned or ICB commissioned. And the thing with ICB commissioned is for the Southwest, where we've got many ICBs and there are so small ICBs, the resilience, I think there will be some discussion about the resilience, and I think this is where the network will, again, like I said earlier, will come together to support ICBs with delegation. So those are the how the services are delivered. Obviously, there's a tertiary center, some national centers. The tertiary center for us mainly Bristol, Plymouth, and a bit in Exeter, and then the local systems. Okay. So like I said, this is moving. The money is going to go from a provider to population base, so it goes to ICBs. Okay, move from what has been traditionally given to really what the population needs are. So the funding goes accordingly. Like I said, delegation of green services, so some services will go into the ICBs, collaborative decision making, and transitioning to the commissioning hub. So there's going to be a regional hub which will help with that. I don't know, Vicky, that's a smile there. At the same time, so Vicky is obviously happy. Vicky and Donna are very happy, that means that one. Okay, so I want to, before I close, I want to bring in 2 days. So I just briefly had a chat with Steve, and all these are aware. But there are 2 potential days where I think what you discussed today and what you guys do will feed into. So there's an 8th of February day where as delegation happens to ICBs, I think ICBs are still understanding what specialist commissioning means. So on the 8th of February, there is a day where Vicky and Donna and Steve, as well as Ollie, as your leads, will be part of it, where we'll have a day where we are going to come with the chief medical officers and their teams and discuss about networks, what it means to them, and how the transition will be. Okay, and the purpose of day is that I won't go again through the details of that, but that's a critical bit, which I think the conversations here, what you have done in the last year or two, will feed into. Okay, and then there's another day on the 23rd of January, a couple of weeks earlier, where we are hoping to develop with the chief medical officers a regional strategy about improvement, how we support that. And again, the leads will be part of that. And the days about what's the ambition. Again, something what you will discuss today. What is the collaboration, okay, further and faster. I think that you guys should come up to that, and learning from the various improvement schemes we have had so far. Okay, and so what does clinical improvement mean? And is what it is. It's on the left. Okay, it is a fair bit of what we have done through GIRFT, but also about some challenging the way we work. There's a lot about adoption and adapting new ways of working, innovation, okay? And what we're looking at on that day is what, as a region, what we can support ICBs or providers over the next 2 years to do, okay? So it is really about improvement. It isn't, but it will lead to those points on the right, okay? So it will be about productivity, and productivity in a broader sense, not about making people work harder, but actually what can be taken off people, because there's so much duplication, there is so much things which, we are not working at the top of our license, if I could put it. You're doing other stuff, and how that can be taken. So it's kind of in that space, okay? Value for money, okay? Performance delivery management, I'm afraid it is NHS. There will be targets, and that is where we can measure against whether we like it or not. We have to love it, okay? Organizational change, there will be certain services where I think organizations will adapt about resilience, and so there will be about workforces coming together, pathways coming together, okay? All right.